Today we're going to be making shooter's sandwich, which originated in England during the Edwardian era, and it's very similar to Beef Wellington. Shooter's sandwich has meat, mushrooms, and is stuffed into the side of a loaf of bread. So what I've done today is I made a loaf of bread. This is homemade in my bread machine. I pulled some tenderloin out of the freezer. I got enough tenderloin so that I would be able to make sure that I was able to fill the cavity with both tenderloin and the portobello mushrooms. And the next step we're going to go through is we're going to cook the mushrooms, and we're going to do that while the grill is heating up. And then I'm going to cut the side of this loaf off, and I'm going to pull the bread out of the middle of the loaf. Now I'm going to rough cut these mushrooms, and that's looking really good. The objective here is to cook as much of the water out that you can. Now we're going to cut the end of this bread off, and we're going to save that. This is going to be the cap that we're going to put back on after. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to hollow this out and save these breadcrumbs. So in order to cut this, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of do a little bit of my own excising here, being careful not to cut through the side of it. And then I'm going to start to take that out. See if you can see what I'm doing here. That should give me enough that I can begin to pull that out. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's a nice cleaned out cavity. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sear the beef on all sides, and we're going to use a very, very hot griddle to do it. And what that's going to do is it's going to seal the beef. These will begin to lift off in just a minute. And what we're going to do is we'll turn them over, and then we'll grill them again so that we get a nice crosshatch, and then we're going to do all of the sides as well. I want to make sure that this meat is totally sealed on all sides. Now, that will leave a rare center, which is what we're looking to get. See how that just lifts right off? Now we're going to turn that over and then grill it. We've just turned them over, and now we're starting to put the crosshatch on the back side. And on some of the smaller pieces, we're almost ready to put that into the loaf of bread. Okay, now we're going to start the assembly. I'll probably use my hands for this. The steak is rested, the mushrooms are ready to go, and what we'll do is put the cap on, then we'll wrap it in paper towels, and then we'll wrap it in wax paper, and we will put a weight on top of this to weigh it down. It's going to have to sit for about 6 hours or so before we can do anything with it. But what we'll do is we'll let it sit for a few hours, and then we'll put it in the refrigerator overnight. Okay, so I'm going to start with just putting some mushrooms in on the sides, and then I'm going to put some of the smaller pieces of meat in. So we'll continue to put meat in and kind of get this all packed in. I think what I'm going to do is put the big piece of steak in. That'll give me enough to work around. Put some more of the meat in. And some more of the mushrooms go in. mushrooms all throughout there. Before I put the cap on, I wanted to make sure that you could see what this looked like in here. It's very, very nice. Now we're going to put the cap on and we're going to then wrap this up in paper towels. Okay, now I've got the cap. I'm going to put on, and essentially what's going to happen, I've got some paper towel. I'm going to actually reposition this a little bit because I want to bring the paper towel up and around it. And paper towel is going to absorb any of the liquid that comes out after we press it down. And I'm going to now put some wrap around this, and then we're going to weigh it down. It's all ready to go. We're going to put it on a plate, and then we're going to weigh it down, and we're going to weigh it down for a few hours before it goes into the refrigerator. We weighed down the shooter's sandwich to give it a chance to compress everything together. We left it on the countertop for about 4 hours, and then we put it into the refrigerator and left it overnight. And I'm using just a regular bread knife because that will cut through everything really nicely. And there it is. It's a little falling apart, but you get the idea of what it will look like. And that's Shooter's Sandwich. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining Cooking at Home with Cody. You can download this recipe and others from cookwithcody.com. And remember, make something special tonight.